Hello, Jennifer here from the UCBA Math Lab. Are you in an introductory algebra course and not sure what to expect or confused about the notation in math? If so, this mini video may be helpful for you. So what is algebra anyway? Operations in algebra work exactly the same way that they do using arithmetic. There are four basic operations: addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division that hopefully you're all familiar with. But how exactly is algebra different from arithmetic? Maybe you're thinking about x's and y's or equal signs, but I'd like to give you a basic definition to think about. Algebra is the language used to describe patterns and relationships using symbols. Let's first talk about what I mean by symbols. There are two types of symbols used. Constants are numbers we know, and variables are numbers we do not know. Here are some examples of constants. These are just regular numbers that you deal with every day. Notice that some numbers can have symbols to represent them, like pi, but we still know its value. Here are some examples of variables. We use letters from the alphabet to represent numbers we know. X and Y are the most commonly used variables in an introductory course, but we can really use anything, even Greek letters like theta. The important thing to remember is these can stand for any number in the problem. These are the four basic operations that we talked about before. In algebra, the division symbol is rarely used. Instead, we would write it as a over b, shown here. For multiplication, we do not write the times symbol shown here because it could get confused with the variable x. Instead, we glue the variables together, and this implies multiplication. It is important to know that this is the default operation when writing constants and variables next to each other. I would now like to show you some more helpful abbreviations that we use in algebra that you will need to understand fully before beginning your course. The first two we already talked about, multiplication and division. The notation is the same whether dealing with variables or constants. The next abbreviation is for repeated multiplication. When the same variable is multiplied by itself, we use exponents to show this. For example, x times x times x here is equal to x to the third power. Multiplying by 1. If a variable is multiplied by the number 1, we drop this constant. For example, 1 times x we write as just x. Multiplying several symbols together. Remember that multiplication is implied when symbols are written next to each other. For example, x times y times 6 would just be written as 6xy. The constant is always written first, and this is okay since the order we multiply does not matter. Also, notice that all of these abbreviations are for multiplication and division only. Addition and subtraction must follow the rules of like terms, which are covered in our next video. Now for some practice. I encourage you to pause the video here and try to work through translating these problems using proper algebra notation. And here are the answers. I hope that this video helped you. As always, if you need help on this topic or any other, we would love for you to contact us in the Math Lab. You can also contact us via email with questions or schedule an appointment through TutorTrack. There is more information about contacting us on the UCBA Math Lab website.